There it is.
Welcome back, Rangers, to another episode of My Name is Bigfoot, and today I'm talking with musician
Michale Graves.
Now, what brings you to Seattle, sir?
I'm here with my band tonight. We're gonna play a whole bunch of punk rock songs.
As a self-described punk rock redneck, you have a 23-acre goat farm. What made you fall in love with that type of property?
When I was a young kid, we used to go up to the spot where the farm is at least 1 week out of the year, and I've always been drawn to the country. I think that it's certainly where my soul resonates at the correct rate for me to feel good. I just need to be there. So when it was time for me to move to a different place in the world, as life takes you, I was very fortunate to find a beautiful old piece of property that I live on. The farmhouse I live in is built in the late 1800s. There used to be a dairy farm and a goat farm, and there's an apple orchard that I'm reviving, or at least trying to revive, that was planted by roving bands of gypsies.
Now, you also make blackberry jam, is that correct?
Well, I certainly try. I have children, and we go out and forage, and there's wild blackberries that grow wild to the area that I'm in, so we go out and we pick them, and yeah, that's one of the things I like doing. I love making jam.
Do you have a special recipe that you'd like to share?
It's just simple. I use, you just use the pectin and you smash up the blackberries. The best thing to do, really, because the blackberries have seeds in it, you really got to make sure that you get the seeds out of it and just get the rest of the berry, and just sweeten it with honey if you don't want to use white sugar, and use the pectin and just make it good to go.
From traveling father to traveling father, what advice would you give to a young musician that is a new parent?
You're just as important on the road as if you were at home, if not even more so. That your role in your child's life has to be even brighter and stronger because of the physical distance, and that's where communication skills comes in. And I think that if you have if you bolster and really work on clear communication with your child, you can be all the things that you need to be as a father, a disciplinary, figure, someone that you can soothe them from 100 miles away, someone that you can give them support and they can feel your enthusiasm, and all the things that you need to do as a father, you can do from 2 feet away or thousands of miles. Communication is very important, and spending time and allowing them as well to really, if you're going to call, you say you're going to call them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you have to call them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You cannot disappoint them. Bigfoot. Talking to Bigfoot. Your fatherly advice to Bigfoot. It's awesome.
Well, I think
it's a dream come true, actually.
Well,
it's the truth.
How else can I say welcome to Washington, you know?
Thank you.
I'm just so glad that you're up here. The Misfits were an amazing part of my life.
Thank you.
And when you came in, you were 20 years old.
I was.
What was that like to be 20 years old and touring with like a major band? Like, were there demands that would have been different than like touring in a smaller independent label?
What was it like? It was crazy. It was crazy because the atmosphere was crazy. The shows were wild. As far as demands, it was, it's a completely different world that you can describe to somebody who's not in it. I was a young man who had all these dreams of being a rock star, and here I have this opportunity after all of these years of preparation and knowing in my heart that the path that I'm on is going to lead me to a door that I'm going to open and there it's going to be, and there it was. And there were all these real world demands that came from record companies and management and people and all of these different things, and surviving on the road and being the best performer and entertainer that I could possibly be, so that I could shine as bright as I possibly could to make the band successful, to make myself successful, and to give soul to the music that I was making. And I knew that I had to resonate everything, all my life force, through that music. And in doing so, it was very heavy and hard to handle as a young man. And it was like that. It was like the dark part of the forest. It was incredible. It was crazy.
Glenn was, I think, 24, 23 when he was the lead for the Misfits, and you were 20.
And I was the new quarterback.
Right.
You know, for that first album and the first tour, there were major record companies I knew that were looking at us, and if I sucked, and if I didn't hit the ball hard and really impress everybody, all of those opportunities were going to go away. So there was a lot riding on my shoulders.
Well,
but I knew I could handle it, Bigfoot.
Was Doyle like a father figure on the road for you?
Doyle was many roles, and indeed one of those roles was father figure to me on the road. He was a great mentor. He was a big brother. He was a father. He was many things to me. And as high as I jumped, it was Doyle that was that air underneath me that pushed me up.
You actually had a vocal training.
Yes.
You had a vocal coach. Now,
yes.
What about the fundamentals and techniques? What is that you learned about going to a vocal coach?
I don't want to give away the technique, but in basically, what I see in my head is a cylindrical cone, and that cylindrical cone it's a circle, and that's my vocal cords. That's where everything lands. And I'm placing things in that cylindrical cone that extends out the back of my head to a point, and the further back are my high notes. And so the theory and the fundamentals are based around that, and then where I place them on my vocal cords and how I breathe into them and come onto them in the way of support and what's called lifting. And it's a technique that's taught by Don Lawrence.
Yeah. And
I practiced it and focused on it intensively. And one day, as I was on my way to practicing for the recording of and writing Famous Monsters, I remember the day, and I was listening to my lesson tape, and all of a sudden it clicked in my mind, and I totally got what my teacher was trying to teach, and I understood completely the technique and how to get to where I was trying to get with my voice, and I became a very different singer.
Yeah. Now, what stage did you have a vocal trainer at?
Professionally, it was as soon as I got into the Misfits. It was as soon as I got back from the Resurrection tour. But before that, I was as a kid, I was always involved in, whether it was chorus or drama courses or classes, both in school and out of school. I was always doing something, and I was always learning. But professionally, it was 1995 when I got into the Misfits. It's okay if I just stare into the mirror and just...
Yeah, do your thing, man.
Okay. We all get stuck down the rabbit hole, if you will, on YouTube, or at least I know that I do. And whether it's alien mysteries or more Bigfoot or sonic booms that people are hearing all over the planet, it's just that we wanted to build a character, and Mark Stewart, who wrote that, wanted to build a character that was close to what I knew as me, but just enough off center so that it would be an exercise for me to exercise those acting muscles. So it's both a creative outburst for us, but as well for me as an artist, those little bits where I can focus my my skill set and step out of being a musician and emote in a way that's going to develop my acting skills is a great thing for me. It's a lot of fun, and I think that people enjoy the little films that we make.
Well, on the other spectrum of acting, you also did a little bit on WCW. What was that like? I mean, did you want to have an establishing power move?
No, because that would mean that other wrestlers establishing power moves would be being able to be used on me, and I didn't really want any part of that.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the performance part of it. I'm an athlete. But wrestling wasn't my thing. I'm not built for that. Those guys are for real. I really enjoyed being a little bit part of that, but what I was most excited for that really never came to fruition was the melding of the two, the synergy that wrestling entertainment has and had with music, and the perfect melding of the two was what I was really excited about. So the way that I understood it was through music and video and visuals, we were going to develop and carry storyline of other characters, including ourselves, and other characters that were being introduced with us. There was Crowbar, and there was Ric Flair's son,
Yep.
and I forget what Natalie, I think her name was. And
Was it Natalie? Yeah, my boy knows about the WCW.
Yeah, and it was fun. So there was this whole gang of misfits that were being put up against one another, and we were going to tell that story and develop it through music and other visuals, and it just never got there, and that's unfortunate. But boy, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, one of the things that you talk about melding experiences, you're pretty business savvy when it comes to the music industry. I figured you've been in it as long as you have. Your crowdsourcing idea of giving fans opportunities to do things that they wouldn't normally get to do with a musician, with a rock star. What made you come up with that idea of being more interactive with your fans?
Well, I met a name by the name of Mark Allen Stewart about 5 or 6 years ago, and we got together and we started talking, and he has this incredible corporate pedigree and experience in the entertainment industry and in the corporate world, and so he understood the business aspect of things in a different way, and really saw what the unique bond that I have with my fans and the experiential component that's always been sort of what I do and what I love to do. And so we decided to really use platforms like that to bring capital into my business so that I can produce projects, and at the same time keep the fans the lifeblood, which they are, the lifeblood of everything, by by pre-sale and by giving support and money in that way. And some of those things, like I said, we go camping. There's been fans, they come and see us in the studio. They have the ability to be part of the videos. It's really awesome.
What made you pick Love for Saturday night? Like because horror and death kind of were major staples in Misfits, and then you come out with this like love ballad in a way for Saturday night.
That's one of the greatest questions ever, Bigfoot. And because as you're asking me that question, I go back to one of my earliest memories I have, figuring out why music. Like what is it about music that when I hear music, what it does to me? And from a very, very, very young age, I remember asking my mom, after I would listen to the radio and I would listen to records. I said, "Mom, why is every song written about love? It seemed everything was written about love." And my mom said, "Michael, it's because love makes the world go round." And I took that in as a very young man, and that's something that always has it's really been the core of everything. Love makes the world go round.
I mean, and at 22, that was pretty deep, because I think you were about 22.
Yeah.
I mean, most people, I mean, they don't know about love. I mean, like,
sure,
but
I mean, everybody feels it. That's something that's universal, and it's just the colors that you paint. The way that I painted that song, it's so abstract that you can really. It's just pieces of emotions that you're given, and then you can put them together in your head as the song is like a spell, and it gives you the power to do that. And then it makes images in your mind of your life, which is different than mine. But those themes are the same across us all. That's what connects us as humans, or Bigfoots. No offense. When I sing that song, even for me, it doesn't completely make sense to me. You know, like people say, well, what's it about? I don't exactly know what it's about. Even for me, it was just pieces of emotion that made me feel a certain way at that time. Like I can equate some of that song to even things that are happening to me right now that make it seem relevant to my life. It's very, very strange and wonderful that something like that song is stuck with people. I was afraid to show that song to the guys in the band.
I heard that backstory.
That's
about
the truth.
Yeah, and luckily you were encouraged to do it, and I mean, it did great. Now, do you have new stuff coming out that's along that same lines, or?
I hope so. I mean, I'm
because I know you're always writing new stuff, and you've got stuff stored away from years on the road and stuff. But
well, I just wrote a new song that's kind of mushy, like Crying on Saturday Night.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm working on something new. Kind of all the time. I'm really focused on the documentary that I'm making about this about this tour.
Did you want to take another puff of this?
Sure.
Okay. I didn't mean to keep like bogarting it, you know?
Listen, smoking weed and talking is like my thing. So hang out.
Comparison-wise, what did you feel that the Misfits meant to you in the 20s to what your experiences now make you feel of the Misfits now in your 40s?
That's a good question. Back then, I was just trying to hold on. It wasn't until, these past bunch of years that I've really gained a hold of what all that should mean and should have meant. Of course, I wouldn't have gotten to where I've gotten to in my mind without it being that way. But so what I'm trying to say is that I have a much better and deeper understanding about those times and how they should be a part of my life and how they should be both internally and externally used. And so it was very, very different. It was very different to look at those times through these eyes with all that I've been through, children and marriage and divorce and all of it.
Yeah.
And 17 years removed from that, of trying to piece it all back together in this crazy, crazy way. It's very, very different, and I really am trying to explain it through music and again my documentaries and my work. I'm trying to explain the strange picture.
One of the things that I really admire about you is your determination.
Thank you.
That's gonna get deeper. So after you left the Misfits, you were doing construction during the daytime and you were working at like IHOP at nighttime.
That's true.
And you had mentioned once before that there was an incident where some kids were making fun of you about, oh, this guy, fuck you, no tip, you're a
That's
rock
true.
star.
They were laughing at me.
Right. But, through all the stuff that that like came at you that was like really just like uncalled for because you did something that you were passionate about. Then you were able to sack it all up again and go back out on the road. And and I mean, and you did a couple of iterations of like you were Gotham Road, and then the Graves. And I mean, you don't stop, which is something that I really admire about you. Is you didn't say, "Oh well, I was really good back in the day," and then that's it. You're like, no, I still got music in me. I still like, and I just wanted to say, what gave you that drive? What gives you that drive now to just keep doing you?
Wow, there's a lot of things. There's not just one thing. The drive has always, I guess, started with, and it's almost an egotistical. It's such a human quality to want to, like, who am I that I feel that I'm so special as to want to communicate my life experiences in this way and go stand on a stage and do it in front of all these people. You know, and it's almost the opposite of what I'm putting out there. I'm humble and I'm just like you, but here I am. So it's very strange. I mean, I could give you the real deep bit of it. Really goes back to a lot that has to do with my spirituality and with mortality. And I know, I mean, obviously I know that I'm just a man. However, I believe and I know that I've been given gifts that I believe I was given supernaturally. God, wherever. To me, it's God.
I think we should ask Bigfoot questions, Michael.
Do we have questions for Bigfoot? We sure do.
All right.
I'm gonna have to get into
go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carlos.
So yeah, I don't want to block in.
No, you're still in there. Okay, so
yeah.
go ahead.
All right. So, how did you?
Oh, by the way, Carlos.
I play guitar for Michael.
Yeah, Carlos.
Loki. Everyone calls me Loki.
Okay, Loki. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So, are there more Bigfoot? Is it more Bigfoot or big feet?
Yeah. Well, okay. So, yeah, Bigfoot and Sasquatch, it's like bro and dude.
Okay.
But yes, we have a family out there. We have people that live out in the Himalayas, East Coast, like Jersey. Hey, does everybody that has to be in the Misfits, do they have to be from Jersey? Is that a thing?
I think that might be a prerequisite to actually be like. It's like to be in the mob. You have to be from, like, your blood has to be in Sicily.
Sicilian, yeah.
Exactly. It's got to be Jersey.
Okay, sorry.
Right on.
Yeah, so I got people from all different parts of the world, and you know, East Coast might be a little bit harder, a little bit tougher. West Coast, we're a little bit more laid back and chill.
Right, cool. Well, you're very knowledgeable about the Misfits. Where do you find out all this information, and do you have CD player? Where do you get your music from?
I had radio. It's been around for a while.
Right. Where do you get electricity from?
Well, so I lived up in the mountains, so like the Rangers and I we're pretty tight.
You guys are buds? Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you were a person that was being pursued by lots of people,
right,
you'd want to go somewhere that was secluded, that you didn't have to worry about hunters, because you got hunt on government land. And anyways, so it's a safe place. And then the Rangers, they always have beer and weed. So I just made friends with them, and actually I married a Ranger wife.
You married a Ranger wife?
Yeah. So we're getting a house, and I shit you not. Like we're getting a house. We're on our second kid.
All right.
I'm like suburban Bigfoot now.
That's great. Well, that's awesome.
Rock on, Michale Graves. Cool. So let me try it one more time again. I know, right? I knew I was missing something.